It's summertime here in Pennsylvania. So what that means for us is that the water's low and clear. The fish have been caught and released for a few months now, so they've become a little bit selective and harder to catch. And the places where they hold will change a little bit now with summer conditions and summer temperatures. In the afternoons, they'll be down in the deeper water, like in the pool behind me, where the water's going to be a little bit cooler and there'll be more cover. But this time of day in the morning, some of them will pull up into this riffle that we have out here in front of us. I see a couple of rising fish here. They're probably feeding on some type of a terrestrial, like a beetle or an ant, a grasshopper. It's hard to tell, but that's always a good bet at this time of year. We're going to make a couple casts to these fish and see if we can catch one of them. If I were actually fishing here today, I wouldn't be using an orange line. The line's going to be easier for you to see in the DVD. But if I was fishing here, I'd be using an olive or a tan line, a color that's going to blend in a little bit better with the surroundings. When I make my false casts, when I'm working the amount of line out beyond the rod tip that I need to reach the fish, I'm going to be careful to keep those casts behind the fish. It's important to remember that the fish will always be looking into the current because that's where their food is going to come from. Most of the time that means upstream. So we're slightly behind these fish. They're looking upstream. So by keeping those false casts behind the fish, I won't be scaring them. And then when I get ready to lay the cast down, that's the cast I'm going to make and present up in front of the fish. Because I'm thinking they're probably feeding on some kind of a terrestrial here today, I've got a terrestrial tied on my line, and I've also run a little nymph behind it. I'm just giving them two choices, and hopefully they'll take one or the other. So we're going to pull some line off our reel and get ready to cast here. I want to keep a low profile so I don't scare the fish. So I'm just going to toss this fly out here in the water in front of me and then pick it up and make my false cast. I'm letting a little bit of line go on each cast here. Now I think I have enough line. So I'm going to make the next cast up in front of the fish, and I can watch my dry fly, which is my beetle, floating on top of the water to see if, I think he took the fly, but I wasn't quick enough. If one of these fish come over and take the nymph, I don't know what's going on here. If one of these fish come over and take the nymph, the beetle will move, and I'll be able to strike and set the hook. I'm going to make a couple new casts. Just cast it out again, put it up in front of where I think the fish is. Now I can't see the fish. Let's see if one of these, I'm just watching the beetle as the current carries it down. Let's go a little bit further this time. See if they're over there on the other edge of this current. I'm keeping the rod tip low, and I've got my line all the time in this hand, or hooked in my left hand, or hooked under a finger of my right hand. So anytime that beetle goes under, or if I see a fish come up and take it, I'll be ready to strike and set the hook on the fish. Okay, let's try that spot. That's on the other side of that riffle. I see a fish over there. It's going down to him right now. He's looking. Yes. Okay. So he pulled all the slack off that I had here in front of me, and now we're playing him from the reel. I'm just going to palm this reel a little bit and try to slow him down without applying enough pressure to break him off. Now he's swimming towards me, so we're going to gather up that slack. He's going to take some again. Always want to feel the fish. Keep that rod tip bent. Know that he's still there. Whenever you can get a couple winds of line back in, you want to do that. He's swimming upstream, so I'm going to keep reeling here. If he takes off or he pulls real hard, then I'm just going to let go of the reel handle and let him take line again. Okay, he's right here in front of us now, so I'm going to step out a little bit closer. So there he goes downstream. He's taking line. I'm keeping the rod tip bent. Now I'm going to reel it back in. See if we can get him back upstream. This is a smaller fish. It's another rainbow. Being a little bit smaller means that I'm going to have a little more control over him. He's up on top of the surface now. That's usually a sign that he's getting tired. He may fight a little bit yet, but I don't think he's strong enough to pull any more line off the reel. Okay, I'm going to get my net out in front of me, get it in the water so it's wet. I'm being careful. I've got about 2 feet of fly line out beyond the rod tip with about a 9-foot leader. That should allow me to just bring my rod tip back, slide the fish right in here to the net. Let's see if he'll come in. Here he comes. Just keep moving the rod tip back. And there he is. Step out in a little bit deeper water. Okay, now he's in about 6 inches of water here, so he's in good shape. I'm going to tuck my rod under my arm so I have 2 hands to work with. In this shallow water, I can just let go of the net. It's not going to go anywhere. I can keep the fish in the water, get his head up on top, find the fly. It's right here in the corner of his mouth. Just reach in there and get a hold of it and back it out, get it out of the way. And put the fish upstream, headed upstream in the water. He may take a second or two to get acclimated, to get his balance, but when he's ready to go, he'll let you know. He'll just swim away.